got the record button on. On Tuesday, I was a little bit late getting that going. But we're going to look at chapter 10 today and look at persuasive messages. This is going to be really relevant for your second type of messages that you're doing for your portfolio, where you're writing a message for trying to persuade people to attend a cruise for your credit union that you work for. So you'll want to make sure that you keep a heads up on some of the key points in this chapter. You can also, as we're going through this chapter, think a lot about commercials and advertisements, because they are essentially persuasive messages in a business sense, although they're not the only type. But if it makes you understand a little bit better what's going on, you can think of them trying to persuade people to purchase their products. So we'll look at some techniques that are used there. So let me get our author up and see what kind of challenge he has for us today. And we are on the tail end of week 6. Soon we can wake up on Tuesdays and Thursdays and not have to come to class. All right. I have posted the video from Tuesday on there, so if we need to go back and look at that, that's fine. All right.
Hi, I'm Pete Carter, the author of your textbook. Today I'll talk about why persuasive messages matter, and of course I've got a challenge for you. Sometimes in the workplace you face situations where others resist your ideas, your products, or even your services. In these cases, your goal is to persuade others to move to your position or adopt your products and services. It's rarely easy. In this chapter, you'll read about various approaches to persuading others. You'll also learn about the components that are in most persuasive messages, both for internal audiences as well as external audiences. In the first chapter about credibility, we first introduced the idea that we're in a post-trust age. Survey after survey shows that people, colleagues, and consumers simply don't extend trust as easily as in decades past. In fact, they are more likely to view your claims and motives with skepticism. This makes your job as a persuader a bit more challenging. In the chapter, you'll see a variety of strategies that help you engender trust. You'll read about planning, how to analyze your audience, how to get the right ideas, and how to structure your message. We'll also discuss strategies for improving your tone. Tone is especially important for persuasive messages. After all, your audience generally has some distrust of your abilities or your intentions, or they have some distrust of your product or service. So with your tone, you hope to emphasize the interests of others and show respect and appreciation for their choices and opinions. So, here's my challenge for you. It's a little bit tricky. Be convincing and also build goodwill. To be persuasive, obviously, you need to make your case. In other words, be convincing. Yet in most cases, you'll be communicating with people who will work with you in the future. Or at least people from your company will work with them in the future. So you want to maintain a warm relationship. This is sometimes challenging to convince others, maybe even scoring points, and also build goodwill. Your odds are best when you apply the principles of persuasion with a sincere interest in others.
All right. So again, we're going to be focusing in on how we persuade others to come to our mindset, or purchase our products, or buy into our values and beliefs. We will find out as we go through the chapter that the tone of your message is so very important. as far as it goes with our persuasive messages. So again, keep in mind this is also what you're going to be using in your message part 2 portfolio. So I'll pull up the PowerPoints. Let's see what we got going on here. I don't have the actual PowerPoint up there. Okay, do you all have the PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right. This chapter is a little bit longer than the previous one, and you would think maybe it would be even shorter because it's just addressing one type of message, a persuasive message, but there are so many opportunities as you are in the business field to actually write a persuasive message or video or whatever other type of communication you have. So we have a number of objectives this time. Again, we're going to go back and look at the credibility a little bit, see how that plays a part. Go and explain the AIM planning process, which is something we've addressed before. AIM stands for audience, information, and message, but it's dealing with the planning stage, and we will see that planning is going to take up a larger part of your time in persuasive messages than it did in those routine messages that we had on Tuesday. Talk about the tone and style of these messages. Then we'll look at internal persuasive messages and external persuasive messages. So what that's referring to is those that go to folks within your own company, those are internal, and those that go outside of your company would be external. Of course, you're doing an external one for your product, for your homework. We'll look at mass sales messages, and then we'll look and see how effective and fair some of these persuasive messages are. So that concept of credibility or believability is really, really important for persuasive messages. After all, you are trying to get someone to consider your product, your recommendation, your request, or whatever. And if they don't believe in you, you're fighting a losing battle. So you need to make sure that you establish credibility first. And we do know that we are in an era of mistrust and skepticism, much more than we have been in the past. So sometimes establishing your credibility may be a little bit more difficult than what it has been previously. So you're going to need to spend some time in the planning process to make sure that you are credible and that you are also communicating properly. So you're going to start off just like we talked in business messages and business communication in general. We need to look at our audience to see what their needs and values are and how they would be influenced. Come up with the right information and then develop a message that reduces resistance and gains buy-in. So that's the AIM, the AIM that is referred to in this title of this particular slide. So to analyze your audience, you need to show them, first of all, that you care about them and that what you are suggesting, what you're trying to persuade them to do is really in their best interest. You can persuade them through shared purpose and shared values. You can show people that they are sincerely needed and appreciated. Understand some different methods of influence. Some will work better for some audiences than others. And then we can also use emotion and reasoning in our persuasive messages. So we're going to look at 3 slides here that have different methods of influence. How do you get somebody to do something you want them to do? Okay? One of those methods is something called reciprocation. Okay? That's based on returning favors. That's the old, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Okay? Still works in many, many cases. Okay? Consistency is to say that once people do make a commitment to do something, they will normally follow through and honor that commitment. So, in other words, you want to stay consistent with what you've asked them to do originally. Don't change it all. All right, social proof. This is where people figure out what they want to do based on what they see others do. Okay? They determine what is right, correct, or desirable by seeing what others do. Liking is the principle that says people are more likely to be persuaded by people that they like. Okay? I don't like you, you're going to have a hard time persuading me to do something. But if I like you, yeah, I'll probably accept whatever you have to say. All right, and then the last 2 are authority and scarcity. Authority is where people are influenced by authority figures. Okay, they do what those that they believe have authority over them think they should do. And then scarcity, which is where people think there's a limited availability of something they want or need, so they have to act quickly. Boy, I see this one a lot. Scarcity on, anybody watch the home shopping channels like QVC and stuff? They'll, they will put up how many they have of something. And they'll get to talking about it. We only have so many left. There's only so many in this size left, or this color left, or you can't buy it anywhere else but here. They tend to use that scarcity a lot there. And it makes you think that you have to buy right now, or else you're not going to be able to get it. I see a lot of that pop up on my computer as well too, ads that say, respond within the next certain number of minutes, but it's no good after that. They're appealing to your fear, really, that you're not going to get in on something that would be wonderful. Okay, emotion. Here we have a case where we're going to use messages that might actually have emotion in them, when our routine messages and some of our other messages, we have to be careful not to let our emotions come out. Now we find that emotion and reasoning are both tools that you can use to persuade others. If you appeal to somebody's emotions, you'll be able to sell products, services, and ideas. Okay? TV ads are very strong on this. You'll see that many of them emotionally try to tie you in. And we might look at a couple of those at the end of the class here, just to pinpoint how, sometimes they're manipulating you because you're emotional about something. All right, so that's all part of the planning process. You're going to analyze what your audience is actually going to respond to, and even maybe incorporate some of these theories of persuasiveness there. Next, we need to gather the right information. We have to develop our ideas, and normally your audience is going to resist this message. So you need to establish that credibility up front. develop strong ideas. It will help your audience see your competence in what you're trying to persuade them to do or purchase. So again, this is different than our routine messages that we talked about on Tuesday. Our routine messages, we didn't expect much resistance to those. Okay, but these, we're going to see we've got some resistance, so we need to demonstrate how competent we are. So there are components that we will use in persuasive messages, and this will definitely be a slide that you'll want to follow through with when you're doing that homework assignment with your credit union cruise. Gain the reader's attention, raise a need, let them know that there's something out there that they need, and then give them a solution for that need. Provide your rationale. Validate views, preferences, and concerns of others. You may have to give some counterpoints, that's optional, and then you call them to act upon it. So if you follow those steps right there, you should be able to construct a very good persuasive message. To set up the message, there's two different things you can do. You can use a direct message where you begin with a main idea or argument and then provide the support that goes along with it. Everything is spelled out. There's nothing fuzzy about it, nothing ambiguous, nothing implied. Those are explicit, direct messages. The other type of message is an indirect, implicit message where before you make the specific request, you provide the rationale. It's kind of done backwards. The request might actually be implied, and the reader is probably going to have to read between the lines a little bit to grasp the entire meaning. All right, so one of the first things we needed to do was to grab the attention of our reader. We've got several examples here of ways that you can get someone's attention. Rhetorical questions, intriguing statistics, compelling and unusual facts. You can challenge people, or you can provide testimonials. Here's some examples of each one of those. A rhetorical question is one that you don't expect someone to answer. Like, did you know that average credit union members save $400 per year compared to bank customers? They're not really wanting you to answer, yes, I knew that, or no, I didn't know that. It's just something to generate you to think about. Statistics. In the past 5 years, we've lost over 200 members, over 10% of our membership. Lord have mercy, this company, if this is an internal request going on here, that would certainly make people open their eyes a little bit. Compelling and unusual facts. You've probably heard car dealers boast about their near 0% interest rates, but there's a catch. By financing with a car dealer, you're giving up your opportunity to get manufacturer rebates and your power to negotiate on price. And you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I really didn't realize that. Let me listen to more about what this person has to say. A challenge. Please join our team in this year's Hope Walkathon in the fight against breast cancer. And you're challenging the reader to do something. And then a testimonial is for someone is actually repeating something that's actually happened to them. I never knew I could have so much negotiating power with a pre-approved loan. By getting my car loan through Better Horizons, I negotiated a great deal with the car dealer. This is the way to buy a car. So somebody who's actually gone through purchasing a car and using this credit union is actually giving words of wisdom from their prior experience. Catch their attention. Okay? Then set the tone and the style. You want to be personal if you can. Personal so that people will get that emotional attachment with you. Action-oriented, lively language, write with confidence. Give them some choices. and show positivity. Positivity. In other words, as long as they can be upbeat, okay? You don't want them to start reading and just throw it on out, and you just, end up, they throw it in the trash can. Somebody, was I supposed to be listening to somebody? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, all right.
Outside or talking.
That's okay, that's okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't ignoring anyone. Okay. In your persuasive messages, you can use a you voice, a we voice, an I voice, or an impersonal voice. All of those are kind of back in chapter 2 when we talked about the voice to use in the messages. It's appropriate to use a you voice when you're doing an external persuasive message and you want to emphasize what the reader is going to gain from doing whatever you're trying to get them to do. But be careful that you give the idea that you know what's right for somebody else. Okay? Here's the example there. When you take out an auto loan, you get a variety of resources to help you in your car shopping, including a free copy of a Kelley Blue Book, access to free Carfax reports, MBI, and GAP. Okay? That says you get a variety of resources. So it shows the benefits to the customer, what they're going to get when they take out an auto loan there. And it's not too overdone. If you say you, then that would be overbearing and would turn people off. If you're doing an internal persuasive message, then you say we, okay? To emphasize that you're sharing work goals with people. Again, be cautious that you're not assuming that everyone believes the same things that you do. Okay? And their example, you can clearly see they're using the word we. At Better Horizons, we've instilled a personal touch into every aspect of our business. We've reinforced this culture with face-to-face services. Our tellers welcome members by name and so on. You can see we is the focus as the organization as a whole rather than you, the outsider. I voices should not be used very often in persuasive messages. I focuses on the writer of the message and would imply that that person is self-centered. They do give an example there that's okay to use after examining the results of other credit unions. I am convinced that these tools can build emotional connections and loyalty with our members. But if you overuse that I voice, what you're doing is honing in on the person who's writing, their personal opinion, rather than who the persuasive message is addressed to. Impersonal voice, you can use that in your persuasive messages to show that you're objective and neutral about things, but it might depersonalize the message. So you can show here this example. The basic difference between credit unions and banks is that credit unions own and control their credit unions. Their bank account holders have no stake or control in their financial institution. They're just kind of stating facts. They're not saying I or you or we or anything like that, not putting any personal touch at all. So gathered from that, basically those last 4 slides say use you voice when you are, use the you voice when you're doing external communications. Use the we voice when you're doing internal, and avoid that I voice. Okay, we want to make our statements that we are going to put into our message tangible. Tangible means you can touch it, you can feel it. In terms of messages, it means that it's something material or substantial. So your statements that you make should be tangible so that the readers can actually see what is meaningful to them. It puts things on a personal level. And we'll see some bad and good examples here on the next couple of slides. Not good. Credit unions save members about $8 billion a year thanks to better interest rates and reduced fees. That doesn't make it on a personal level. I mean, $8 billion a year, how much does that mean to me? So more effective would be credit union members save $400 each year compared to bank customers. You know, lower loan rates and fees. You can see that $400 is, it's nothing wrong with that $8 billion a year. It's not an incorrect statement, but it's hard for the reader to put that in terms of what it means to them on an individual level. Less effective in recent years, many credit unions have lost membership because younger individuals are not attracted to them. Again, there's nothing incorrect about that statement, but it really doesn't put it on a personal level. If you go on down to the more effective one, in the past 5 years, we've lost over 200 members. That's over 10% of our membership, and we simply aren't attracting younger members. So it tells you what's going on right there in the credit union that you're dealing with, the reader's dealing with. And it also puts it in terms where you can see the impact. Less effective, we provide lower rates on car loans. Car loan rates are between 1.5 and 1.75 percentage points lower than any of the banks. Again, what does that mean in terms of dollars to the reader? Sounds good, but really it's not as focused in as personal. So more effective, you pay lower rates on car loans. You can get a car loan, there's that 1.5 to 1.75 percentage point lower again, but they turn that into actual dollars so that someone who's considering a car loan on a 4-year, $15,000 new car loan, you save about $680. On a 4-year, $5,000 used car loan, you save about $200. So you can see how they're taking general statements and putting them so that they are what we call tangible, more meaningful to the person who is the reader. Action-oriented and lively language. Mentioned that before. You want your language to kind of be upbeat and kind of driving your reader to do some action. The Betty Williams Breast Center has a nationally accredited program for treatment of breast cancer. Nice, but doesn't really, doesn't get a lot of, well, what are they doing kind of stuff out there. It just says they have one. All right, the Betty Williams Breast Center runs a nationally accredited program for treatment of breast cancer. Just changing that verb there shows it's a more active type participation on the part of the company. Not good. Better Horizons has always been known for its personal approach to our members. Our transactions have always occurred through face-to-face services. Our tellers are friendly to all members. Okay, again, good statements, but they're kind of has been and have and are. Those are all passive words, passive verbs that don't imply action or anything real exciting going on. So they revised that, to at Better Horizons, we've instilled a personal touch into every aspect of our business. We reinforce this culture with face-to-face services. Our tellers welcome members by name. When members come into the credit union, they know we care about them as people, not just as customers. So we got a lot of action verbs being used there, and a lot of approach to that personalized service. Okay, write your messages, your persuasive messages with confidence. Okay, you want to let people know that you believe in your own idea or your product or your service. Okay, not effective. At our upcoming board meeting, I would like to discuss possible ways of appealing to younger members. We can talk about various strategies and so on. They're really like not focusing on the individual who's doing the writing and focusing more on another approach. More effective would be, at our upcoming board meeting, I will present a vision of how we can build marketing strategies and product offerings to appeal to younger members. So they can see that it takes the focus away from the other back to the writer, and implies that they have confidence that they can actually make a change with their membership. Again, please think about how Better Horizons can help you in your banking. That's really very non-specific. As they say here, it really just gives the reader an excuse to dismiss the message. Whereas the more effective version encourages you to stop by Better Horizons and make direct comparisons with your current bank. They're asking for you to do some action there. And they're confident in that presentation that you will see that they can meet your banking needs. Okay. Another tool for our persuasive messages was to emphasize choice. Less effective, you owe it to the women in your lives to make a difference. That means you've got an obligation to do something. It might seem like you're pressuring somebody to do something, but more effective, you can help make a difference for women here in our community. That's almost like a challenge for you to do something. Less effective, the walkathon will be held on such and such day at Central Park. Do your part to improve the lives of women in our community. Again, it's kind of placing an obligation on the reader, whereas the more effective statement, the walkathon will be held on Saturday, October 6th at 9 a.m. at Central Park. Please join Betty and the rest of the Better Horizons team for a day of fun, excitement, and hope. It's showing that the reader has a choice to participate in something that's for a good cause. Okay. We have said again that the post-trust era, people are more likely to not believe what you're saying, not trusting you. So avoid these things, these little phrases. Don't say, trust me, okay? That implies that they have an option not to trust you. Don't say unbelievable. An unbelievable statement is something like, your call is important to us, or we care about our customers. Are they really going to believe a lot of it? Don't say things that are too good to be true. This is the right product for you, or we give you guaranteed results. No excuses. Okay? Explanations are saying, I can explain, okay? And fear tactics, like you're selling a home security system. Are you concerned about the security of your family? Well, of course you are. What stupid person wouldn't be? Okay, so don't use those.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Under the unbelievable part, it says your call is important to us. We care about our customers. What is an alternative way to express that we care about our customers?
Something like we will ensure that you are completely satisfied with our product or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
More specific and not, you don't want to, we care about our customers kind of implies that when I go home at night, I'm thinking about each and every one of them. And that's not absolutely true. I might think about each and every one of my students when I go home at night, but I honestly can say that's probably not true either. So I wouldn't just walk around and say, I care about you students. I might be better to say, I will be available to help you with any of your concerns with your homework or something like that. Be more specific, something that somebody would believe that you would do for them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Try not to exaggerate or use superlatives that might be unbelievable. You can trust us at Better Horizons to make your financial dreams come true. What an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Okay? But more effective would be as a nonprofit member-controlled financial institution, Better Horizons can provide you with higher rates on savings accounts, better terms on loans, and lower fees. So you can see they're saying more specifically what they could actually do rather than exaggerating that all of your life's financial dreams are going to come true. Pay attention to these facts or risk losing money to banks. That's like, kind of putting the fear into people. But more effective would be consider some of the following reasons to join the credit union and start saving today. No pressure. And I am sure you all, I'll give you an example of a pressure-based tactic that is still used over and over and over today. If you have a child, one of the first things they'll try to do is somebody's going to try to come in and sell you life insurance for your child. Okay, and they're going to use the words, well, don't you love your child? Of course you love your child, but buying life insurance for your child is not the necessarily correct thing to do. Okay? And I will tell you all, unless your child has got some kind of major physical problem or mental problem or something like that, buying life insurance on, you should only buy life insurance on people that you depend on them financially.
Also, car salesmen always say that there are other people looking at this car
Of course.
to pressure you into acting.
I would rather buy a house than a car. Car salesmen are the worst for making pressure demands on you. I remember years and years ago we were car shopping, and we still laugh about this. And one car salesman, everything you said, his response was, I got you on the money. I got you on the money. And I never even understood what that meant. He was trying to say, I guess, that he's the one that's going to offer the best price or something like that. But we called him, I got you on the money, man, because that's what he always said. I could not buy from him just because of that. It just got on my nerves. But I always, I'm a pretty strong, aggressive woman when it comes to sales things and so on, but I always feel like I've been screwed over when I've gone to a car sale. I do. It's just hard to find really honest comments sometimes by car salesmen. So, gotta let them know that you're not somebody they can mess around with. Okay, gonna look at internal and external messages, how you would look at the components of those a little bit differently. Your internal messages, even though they're persuasive messages, you're usually not trying to get somebody to buy something. You're more than likely getting them to buy into your idea or how you want to address a business problem. So when you get their attention, you just want to overview that business problem, whereas if it's an external message going out for someone to buy your product or service, that's where you want your catchy statement, your attention getter. The need for internal messages is a description of the business problem, but for the external messages, you need to describe what your reader has as far as unmet needs or wants. So you go on to tell them how you can satisfy those. Internally, your solution should be just a description of how your solution is going to address the business problem. Externally, you can elaborate a little bit more on why your product or service would be a benefit to the customer. Rationale internally, you can show why your idea is the best option. Again, you can elaborate externally about why your product or service is going to benefit the customer. And then appreciation. For internal messages, you want to show people that you would appreciate their perspectives and any resistance they may have to your ideas. Externally, you can also recognize a customer's resistance to your product or service. Counterpoints. Internally, you can explain why your ideas are better than those of the competition. Externally, again, why your products and services are better than the competition products or services. And then finally, the call to action. You need to have internally a recommendation for what's going to take place in the future. Externally, actually give the step that the customer needs to make towards the purchase of the product or service. All right, so we have some examples of persuasive messages that are not so good and those that are better. We're going to look at some internal and external ones. This one is page 312, I believe. You're having difficulty reading that. This one is an internal message. It's going within the credit union, but it's not very effective for the reasons that are highlighted in red there. It's not gaining attention very effectively. There's no catch, no catchy phrase or anything coming out there that would make somebody read this. Upcoming meeting, I'd probably go, oh gosh, not another meeting. We don't have a tangible need shown or a good solution. The rationale is not specific. It's not validating any other perspectives. The conclusion is not specific as well. It's got kind of an overall bossy tone and no appreciation for anyone who feels differently about it. Yes, ma'am. Okay, just make sure you catch up with everything on the video. Yes, I'm recording today, so okay. All right, your external persuasive messages are better if they are personalized, upbeat, positive, and pressure-free. They don't try to put any guilt trips on people or express negative terms. When you're doing a mass sale message, where you're sending a sales message to a very large group of consumers, marketing a particular product or service. That's what we call a mass sale message. They can result in sales, of course, but they can also just raise the brand awareness for your company. Again, you want to gain attention up front, generate the interest, build desire, and end with a call to action. The most effective messages are going to have a central sales theme, a unified theme that a consumer can recognize quickly. This one has a strong logical appeal. It says, the subject is car dealers can't beat Better Horizons on car loans. Okay, that one is certainly attention getting, and you will see that the little chart that they have included brings your focus in on the differences between what the credit union can do for you and what the dealer would be doing for you. You also see that they're using some bold print there to draw the attention. You can save over $1,700 over the course of a 5-year loan of financing with Better Horizons. After they present the information, they give that rationale, they build the desire, okay? And then a call to action is the way it is completed. It gives you a way to actually contact your loan officer or do an online application. Okay, so be very careful before you send a persuasive message to actually go back and look at it, because these can be so important to your career. They can build your credibility, or they can act opposite. If there's something wrong there, it can diminish your credibility. So do take time to reread, apply the FAIR test that we talked about before. Do not manipulate. Manipulation is using some type of deception to achieve your own interest. So make sure that you're not manipulating anyone. If you don't recall, FAIR stands for facts, access, impacts, and respect. So if you go through these questions that are listed in the FAIR evaluation and answer each one of them in a positive way, then you have pretty much taken out the chance that your persuasive message is going to be communicated inappropriately, and that your receivers are going to be upset by anything that you have said. And there are our chapter takeaways. We have looked at credibility. We looked at the components. That was the one where I told you to make sure you looked at the things that you should include in your persuasive messages as you do that homework. Your tone and style, the difference between internal and external, mass sales messages, and then making sure your messages are effective and fair. All right. Any questions about the PowerPoint? No, we lost y'all. Hold on. Okay, you should have me back up there, guys. Anybody have any other questions about that?
No, ma'am.
About persuasive messages in general? We're going to take our break, and then we're going to come back and look at an overview of the chapter in a short video, and maybe look at a few sales types, commercials and things, and let's see if we can see how they're trying to persuade you to purchase their items. So, let's see, I have 10 till, so about 5 after 3, we come back and we will finish up and then talk about any concerns you might have from the first assignment, which is due this Sunday. So, okay, I will see you at 3:05.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's get back at it. Take a look at one video, and then we'll look at some TV commercials here that might elicit some responses from you. So this video is, I have put it on Blackboard for you. A nice little summary from what we've talked about today.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. We're going to talk now about what we call persuasion marketing messages. Everyone has done this one way or another. Someone to do something, to act your way, to think your way, whatever the case goes in business. Persuasion is a very powerful tool. You start looking for future jobs. The whole premise behind your resume, the whole premise behind your cover letter and interviews is persuasion. So let's talk about how we can enact this in business messages. Persuasion, again, is the ability to use argument or discussion to try to change an individual's belief or action. Basically, what you're doing is convincing someone to do something, to think some way, to act some way that they do not want to do. Now, if you think about it, if they do it willingly and they want to do it, are you really persuading? No, there is no persuasion there. So again, you're trying to have someone do something they don't want to do. There are, again, similar to the routine messages and the bad news, negative messages, the opening, the body, and the closing are unique. So with the persuasive message, the opening gains attention. You're trying to get them to think about what you may want to do or not to do. You're not really telling them yet what you have to do, but you're gaining their attention. The body has two sections also. First, you're going to build interest. Then you're going to reduce resistance. There's always going to be a resistance factor to some degree. You have to break that down. And then finally in the closing, that's when you are going to get them to bite, to motivate, to act the way you want them to do it. Take a look at each part individually. The opening, the attention getter. Well, we're not going to front load it. We're not going to start off with the purpose of this message is to persuade you to do something you don't want to do. So we're not coming up with a purpose. We have to find a different approach. Well, some things we can do. Don't try to use all these, but some things you can do depending upon a situation is maybe describe a problem. An example would be the lifeguard, you know, to see the old people who have their little pendants, you know, and they always start with a problem, you know, Ma fell in the shower and, you know, she's calling for help and didn't have her pendant, but if she had her pendant, blah, blah, blah. So, again, a problem is good, but use a problem only if your message relates to a problem. How about an unexpected statement? something out of the blue. Maybe an unexpected thought. Percentages are great. Numbers are great. We'll talk about those more in a bit. A compliment. Pay the reader a compliment. Give them some praise, maybe related facts. Again, 1 out of every 10 whatevers, something happens again. Another, numbers are good. A stimulating question. What would you do if you were home alone and the power was out? Bingo. Again, raise questions, get them to think about it, you're gaining their attention. A reader benefit, without stating what it is, tell them what a benefit might be, and let them go, that would be kind of nice. So again, these are ways you get started. The opening is not going to be long. It could be 1 sentence, it could be 1 question. But again, 1, 2, at the most, 3 sentences is enough. Too much, and you're going to bore them and you're going to lose them. Building interest. Well, that's the first part of the body. Remember, we have 2 parts. So the first part, develop interest again by using facts, statistics, testimonials, and specific details. You're still not giving them the specifics. It's like with a negative message. You're still not telling them the answer is no, but you're kind of building up to it. That's what we're doing here. You're building up to the punchline, so to speak. So facts, again, are great. People love numbers. They love to hear numbers. They want to know, how I'm going to fall in with a group of individuals or how I can do something based on other people. They want to know how they're going to be ahead of me. Numbers do that. Establish your credibility, if necessary, by explaining your background and your expertise. Everyone has them. So, it might be something as, in the last 20 years of teaching, I have realized or I have found that students do blah, 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 blah. Okay, my credibility is because of my 20 years experience. Even if you don't have experience, you just state, you have been involved in something that develops some degree of credibility. So think about using that opportunity. Finally, tie facts to direct and indirect benefits. Direct benefits are those that will immediately happen to an individual. You will gain something. You will receive something. And direct are usually tangible types of things. Indirect benefits might be not necessarily something that will happen to you, but maybe something that will happen to other people that you may relate to. Again, let's go back to the old people with their little pennants. Peace of mind, not so much for the old person, but for the young family members who are worried about mom or dad slipping in the shower or falling down the stairs, knowing that they have that little pennant, they're going to have peace of mind. So again, direct, indirect. Think of how you might want to use this. It's also not a bad idea to try to use one of each. You never know which way the reader wants to go. Direct versus indirect. Talk a little bit more here about that. Direct benefits are extrinsic. Again, an example is if you accept our invitation to speak, you will have an audience of 50 potential customers for your product. Great. Very extrinsic. It's external, but it's something that could provide an intrinsic reward. Looking at the intrinsic benefits, your appearance would prove your professionalism and make us grateful for your willingness to give something back to our field. Again, intrinsic are usually the intangible, the fuzzy things, the warm, fuzzy feelings you might get for doing something. Whereas extrinsic are actual physical things you might get. Again, I suggest you add one of each. That way you've got your bases covered if you need it. Resisting or reducing resistance. Everyone's going to have some resistance. They're going to maybe catch up on it, but you want to be able to diffuse that. And how can we do this? Well, maybe anticipate objections and provide counter arguments. Doesn't hurt to do that. And again, let's go back to the old people. I think one of the commercials has the elderly lady goes, "Well, I'm not that old. I really don't need this." Well, you know, again, it's not for you, it's for your loved ones, their peace of mind. So think about one, you know, if you got more, great, use them. But certainly you kind of anticipate one objection. Suggest what would be lost if the request is not granted. Usually at the end of commercials, again, I love commercials. Commercials are great. At the end of these infomercials, at the very end, what do they say? You know, if you call in the next 15 minutes, we're going to give you not one, but 3 of whatever it is they're trying to sell. Now, what happens at 16 minutes? Supposedly, you're not going to have that opportunity. So again, trying to build in some loss or anticipation of loss down the road. If requesting favors or making recommendations show how the receiver or others will benefit, again, not only the intrinsic but the extrinsic rewards that could be received. You don't have to use all of these, but again, depending on what you're trying to convince, think about what would work the best. Motivating the action. This is in the closing. And at the end of commercials, you know, they hit you. You know, call this number right now, and you know, in the next 5 minutes, and what happens? A timer appears. You see a clock with a little spinning hand. The seconds are ticking down, and if you don't act right away, oh my gosh, you're going to lose out. So we're going to push the motivation. Make it a precise request. Include the deadline. You got to have the deadline. 5 minutes, March 10th, whatever it is, give them the deadline. Repeat the benefits. Again, they hit back. You know, you're not only going to get 1, but you're going to get 3 of these. You know, call now. You can't lose. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, again, repeat these benefits. Provide the details or offer an incentive. Bonuses are great. Buy 1, you know, and now get 3. So, again, these are marketing. You won't necessarily have to use these, but you can always throw in a little, what I call a bone, just to make them a little more motivating. Now, as I did with the negative message video you probably just saw, I now show you the opening body closing for the routine, persuasive, and negative. You will see there are some basic similarities, but there are some definite dissimilarities. This will help you with the reflection question, and also will help you when you develop your persuasive and negative message activities. That's all I got for now, folks. Questions? Let me know. Take care. Talk soon.
Okay, I'll show you these videos as kind of a good place for you to go to when you're getting ready to review for your test. And we do have a test coming up very soon, so be keeping your eyes on the calendar for that. I believe it is the end of next week, so we will be getting close to that point, and hopefully the videos will help you in reviewing for the test. I was just browsing through some of the commercials that I saw on YouTube that were repeated, that kind of tried to tug on your emotions and things like that. Just going to show you a couple of those and let you digest some of the skills that you've learned today. And then I want to ask yourself, you're probably going to remember some of these commercials, but do you remember what company they're for, really, or not? So let me go to those, and we shall finish up with those. Ah, an error occurred. Oh, shucks. Let's try that one. There it is right there. Let's do it. Got no closed captioning.
Well, that has big windows and lots of light. I don't understand. Did I do something wrong? Are you breaking up the page? Has the official sun and his
Okay, so you finally get to figure out that is a commercial for Chevy. I know. I thought it was just a feel good about a dog. So, you know, it was tugging at my heartstrings, though. You know, I mean, she'd had that dog since forever, and it was her best bud, and oh, it was so cute. I wanted to go out and buy a dog, but I didn't want to go out and buy a Chevy. So, I'm not so sure it was the best persuasive. Let's see here. Go back there. Apparently Chevrolet has a lot of them. Of course they do them at the Super Bowl. So. This one was funny. I had never seen this before. I will let you just see how bad some people do with this kind of stuff.
I smell something fishy! Sit down, seafood warehouse. Come on to Rocco. If our fish wasn't fresh, would I do it? Experience the variety that your whole family has been begging you for. Here at the Discount Seafood Warehouse. Did somebody say cutlery? Cutlery. Did somebody say lobster? Lobster. Somebody say crab legs? Yes. If you buy a lobster that's 12 or 13 pounds, you're eligible to get shot by us with the Alka-Seltzer cannon. It's terrific. It's not awesome. Discount Seafood Warehouse. You're 168. We'll know you're there when you start smelling something fishy.
Can you believe that a company even put that out? I mean, my gosh.
That's real.
That's for real. Real? Mm-hmm.
Fixing all these fish and slap.
All right, let's see what I got here. This says 8 examples of the most absolutely effective advertisements. Oh. Oh, it is. We don't want him.
I smell something fishy.
We don't want him again.
That's it.
Is he on the same one? Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at Nike. They're good.
Greatness. It's just something we made up. Somehow we've come to believe that greatness is a gift, reserved for a chosen few, a prodigies, a superstars, and the rest of us can only stand by watching. You can forget that. Greatness is not some rare DNA strand. It's not some precious thing. Greatness is no more unique to us than breathing. We're all capable of it. All of us.
What do you think? Did that
Some people
persuade
feel
you
the
to
reward of greatness.
buy a pair of Nikes or not? Let's see what else we've got here. I'm just curious as to what this one is.
The jumping jeans look like designer denim jeans. Moth fly, front and back contrast, pocket stitching, brass rivets, and smooth butt lifting design.
And this is exactly why no one takes as seen on TV items seriously.
With 2 stretch bands, you can hang your pillow anywhere you want.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst as seen on TV items ever.
Does not look like it.
For this list, we're looking at those items sold via commercials on TV that were unforgivably terrible.
With Zoomies, you'll enjoy Mother Nature up close.
Generally ridiculed by consumers due to their pointlessness, their ludicrous concepts, or for their poor performance.
Sleeping on your side without proper gusts can be a major culprit.
Number 10, the Go-Go Pillow.
Introducing Go-Go Pillow, the plush, comfortable, multifunction pillow. It fits any tablet, anytime, anywhere.
While the Go-Go Pillow can be used for travel, its main function is to act as a holder for your tablet. The question we have is, why can't you just hold the tablet?
Tablets and large smartphones are great, but trying to eat a recipe is a real hassle.
And even if you did want some sort of holder, why should it have to be a pillow? Not only does this item make little sense, but it was also criticized upon release because it blocks access to the tablet's controls.
You'll never again have the frustration and pain of holding your arms out or knocking over your expensive tablet.
It also acts as a normal pillow and lays the tablet flat instead of propping it up at an angle. Just buy a tablet case instead. Number 9, Skinny's Instant Arm Lift.
Have sagging arms? We can fix that.
In what is perhaps the most insulting item on this list, the Instant Arm Lift is used to get rid of unwanted flab by literally taping the flab to the back of your arm.
Just attach it underneath the back of your arm and give it a gentle lift for the illusion of smooth, firm, younger-looking arms.
It's advertised to make, quote, saggy arms appear tight and firm. And we couldn't think of a more degrading and useless product. The tape is also extremely hard to apply and is quite painful to take off apparently, like slowly peeling off a Band-Aid. Agonizing, undignified, and hopelessly impractical. This item ticks all the boxes of a dumb product.
Okay, so here's how it looks from behind. See, you can't see it at all from the front.
Number 8, the air curler.
Does it take forever to get that perfect curl in your hair? And curling irons damage hair.
Advertised to create, quote, luscious curls in seconds. The air curler is basically a worse, cheaper, dumb-looking version of a real curling iron. But did you honestly expect luscious curls for $15? The contraption itself looks ridiculous. Whip this bad boy out in front of your girlfriends when getting ready for the big party, and you'll be the laughing stock of everybody.
Hair curler spins your hair like a tornado to dry and curl your hair in just seconds.
It supposedly curls hair by spinning it like a tornado, but the results are more rat's nest and less Hollywood starlet curls. Save the aggravation and just buy a curling iron. Your hair and friendships will thank you.
This is just not what I think it should look like. Does this look like an elegant curl to you?
Number 7, zoomies.
Introducing Zoomies, the compact, hands-free, high-power binoculars you wear like sunglasses.
If your goal is to look absolutely foolish while you're out in public, then zoomies are for you.
Well, they don't really work that great, but they're so damn cool.
Zoomies are hands-free binoculars that sit on your head like a pair of glasses, so you can look at faraway objects without the annoying hassle of actually holding a pair of binoculars. Not only do you look ridiculous wearing them, but reviews also cite poor blurry vision and weak magnification as deal breakers.
They turn any TV into a big screen TV.
We can imagine that even avid bird watchers pass on these, and we advise you to do the same.
Zoomies binoculars are so light, you'll forget you even have them on.
Number 6, the fat magnet.
There's a lot of fat. Look at that.
Eating healthy is something we all want to do, but unhealthy food just tastes so good. Well, the fat magnet claims to be the perfect solution. You hover it over your food, and the excess fat on greasy foods gets sucked up by magnets or something like that.
It smeared it onto the fry. It didn't suck it out like it's supposed to.
Truth is, we don't really know how it works, mainly because it doesn't. Seeing this product endorsed on the Dr. Oz show is just painfully awkward.
Gets rid of all of that grease.
You don't see that?
And it should be apparent to anyone watching that it is nothing but a cash grab. Maybe just buy a salad instead. Number 5, push support.
Introducing Push, the comfortable nighttime companion.
I know this is not a support that allows you marijuana. It's even worse. The product is basically a piece of foam or plastic that goes in between a woman's breasts as she sleeps to support them during the night.
Push offers comfort and proper spine alignment for side sleepers, pregnant women, nursing mothers, and post-operative recovery.
It's impossible to look at this thing in action and not laugh at embarrassment at the sight of it. If that wasn't bad enough, a vast number of consumers complain that it doesn't stay in place due to the poor, slippery quality of the material. Sorry, C-cuppers, but you'll have to find relief elsewhere.
It can be kind of uncomfortable to have like boobs when you're sleeping, right? Like you can't sleep face down and stuff like that. Sometimes if they're sensitive, like whatever.
Number 4, better marriage blanket.
Authentic molecules are absorbed before anyone knows they're there.
The fact that this is even on the market speaks volumes about our culture.
Don't do that.
What am I doing?
Don't fart in the bed.
We're not going to sugarcoat this. The better marriage blanket is a comforter that absorbs your spouse's farts so that it doesn't sneak up the bed.
So whether you or your spouse suffers from a health issue or just the occasional disagreeable meal, you owe it to your marriage to try the better marriage blanket.
It's even advertised that the blanket uses the same fabric, quote, used by the military to protect against chemical weapons. Last we checked, humans farted methane, not VX. This probably started as a joke, but then some executive thought there was money in it. So here we are.
It's the problem in the marriage bed that no one likes to talk about. Maybe that's why they call it silent but deadly.
Number 3, the backup.
The patented backup gun rack keeps your shotgun at your bedside and as easily as you find blankets and sheets.
The backup is a gun rack that's meant to house a gun beside your bed in order to shoot intruders without you even having to leave the comfort of your mattress.
Toddlers.
Not only is this one of the most puzzling and useless products ever, but it has potential to
My dad, the army guy,
Yes.
he loved that.
Yes, those who sneaks back into the room from getting a drink. They fall in all the wrong ways. And backup is truly
That's not saying your pillow.
That's what I'm saying.
ever seen.
It's the smartest money you'll spend in your life.
Number 2,
Watch as we pour a full portable right on the body patch. It disappears.
this one is for the lazy and disgusting among you. Can you not be bothered to take your dog outside?
We love Spot, but shit is impossible to trade. Then we got the potty patch, and it saved our happy home.
No, the potty patch is a piece of AstroTurf that your dog goes to the bathroom on so that you don't have to take your lazy ass outside. His house would smell like, but it's probably not pleasant. Dogs also have a penchant for tearing apart anything and everything. So many consumers' potty pouches don't last more than a few days. There are just no redeeming qualities about it. Before we cringe in embarrassment at our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
That's right. Never touch another dirty toilet tissue.
Being a big guy certainly has its advantages and its disadvantages. This is a great product.
This is a real live 800-pound grizzly bear, and even he's having a hard time getting into the fridge locker.
What do you care to do? Get yours today for only $10. But wait, call now and you'll double the offer.
The secret to Booty Pop is it strategically places hats inside the panty that lift buttocks, leaving the sexier, more desirable booty instant.
Number 1, sauna pants.
Now you can read, watch TV, or just relax in the privacy of your own home.
One of the most perplexing weight loss devices ever. Sauna pants promise to help you, quote, sweat in the areas you need it most.
Adjust heat level and relax as the sauna pants deliver a deep, soothing heat.
These are bulky, uncomfortable pants where they have no more out of your body in the hopes of making you sweat. They also need to be plugged in, meaning that you must be sitting within 5 feet of an outlet.
Lucky me, I found an extension cord. Now we can do this correctly.
So probably on the floor. Another criticism is that they come in one size. So many report an uncomfortable fit, despite the fact that they are adjustable. Needless to say, sauna pants are one of the dumbest products ever.
Order now and just wrap and relax.
Do you agree with our list? What as seen on TV product do you regret buying?
No constraints, no adhesives, and no garments needed.
For more non-regretful top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You get it all, the Comfort Wipe and the Get It Grip. The entire $50 value for just $19.99. But you have to call now.
Okay, are any of you persuaded to purchase any of those products?
You definitely don't know.
Or maybe I should ask, has anybody actually purchased any of those? I have purchased made-for-TV products before, but none of those. So, and usually the ones I purchase are worthless anyway. So I got persuaded by somebody, that's for sure. All righty, just something to tuck on your head to. Hopefully your techniques will be dealing with creditable products and creditable companies as well. So anybody got any questions about anything in particular, the assignments that are due?
No, ma'am.
All righty, go have a good weekend then.